Hello, FINR2205 Personal Finance Management students, and just want to touch base with you because today is Monday, October the 21st, so we're starting another week of our class, and October has just flown by, and pretty soon it'll be the end of November and the semester will be almost over. But we are in the final hours of our midterm test, and you can see that over here in pause. These are upcoming events, things that are opening as well as things that are closing. And it says that our test number 1 is going to be due October the 22nd at 11:59 p.m. Now, as of this point, only 3 students in our class have completed the test. And I want to say bravo to those 3 students, because when you complete it sooner, rather than later, you're going to avoid those last-minute issues that can turn into disaster when it's occurring at 10 p.m. 2 hours before the test is due, right? Those things are oftentimes not a problem if you will address them earlier, like today, okay? Here's what I mean. If you're struggling with the password, if you're struggling with finding a computer, or having enough time on the computers, for example, in the library, the time is limited. That can all be a catastrophe tomorrow at the deadline, because the library might be closing and you can't get into the system. So avoid those issues and go ahead and cull out some time, get yourself ready, have your book and your notes and really prepare yourself and enter into that test today. Okay, so what about the instructions? Well, first of all, let's just point out that here we are under quizzes, right? And so we've had this open since the 18th, and today is it'll be due the 22nd. Today, as I record this, it's the 21st. Now, every day, you really, at least a couple times a week, you should be checking the content area, because this is where you're going to get little extras, the objectives, the notes, even some extra practice material that might help you do even better on the test. And as I look down through my list, I find the category for test number 1, and here's the instructions. Now, when I click on that link, I want to be patient. Give this document time to fully load to your screen. I want to point out a couple things. You see this little printer icon here. If you can't see the icon, you can see where I'm pointing. You may also see a printer icon here. I would suggest that you print these instructions so that you have them very handy and close by, right? You may also want to explore some of these links and maybe save this. I think this is a download button here, so that you can save this to your desktop for easy reference. Now, I'm going to go through these instructions very quickly, because you can certainly read them on the screen. You are expected to complete the test independently. I know you know that, and that you are ethical students, and that you have good integrity, so you're going to do it independently. Also, here's the due dates again for our test. A reminder is that the time is based on the system time, so you don't want to cut it too close. Okay, if you are concerned that there's a couple of minutes, and I actually see I have a typo here that I'm saying it's due by 11:55 versus 11:59, well, you're not going to cut it that close. I mean, the system is going to give you 4 more minutes than, bonus minutes versus what I have here in the instructions, right? Because I'm saying 11:55, and you just saw that the system said 11:59. But don't cut it that close. Don't make it where those 4 minutes determine your grade for this test, which has many points associated with it. You have only 1 attempt. You cannot retake the test, and for that reason, it's very important to plan where are you going to take the test. When are you going to take the test? Do you have enough time available to you at the library? When does the library close? All those types of things. As you answer the questions, make sure you're saving the response. When you start the test, you have only 160 minutes. The clock does not stop. So don't, if you go into a classroom to take a test, the instructor passes out the test and you sit there and you take the entire test. You don't say, well, I'll come back in a couple hours and work on it some more, and then no, I'm going to go eat dinner and I'll be back in a couple more hours and I'll work on it 5 minutes here. No, no, no. You don't do that. You sit down and you have your book and you've got your pencils and your pens and your highlighters, whatever tools you feel like you need. Maybe you even have little tabs or sticky notes in your book to help you find things very quickly. Certainly you would do those things, and you would do it all in one single sitting. Right? When you are done, do not just close out of the browser. You've got to scroll down to the very bottom and make sure that you submit it. It's kind of like taking a test and then throwing it on the floor as you walk out of the classroom. You're not going to do that. You got to turn it in, right? So click that submit button so that you are actually submitting that test and you're sure and confident that you've answered all the questions and that you're getting your final grade. Alrighty, so this test, a lot more points than our quizzes that we take, right? It's 100 points, 50 questions, 2 points apiece. If you have been doing the chapters, right, then you will have had some exposure to the questions. You may want to print some of those and organize them. Now, let's keep this in mind. This is a timed test. There's only 160 minutes, so you can't spend, 20 minutes on every question. You've got 50 questions. You should have your notes ready and available in case, you need to look something up. But I am looking to you to have that knowledge really ingrained in you at this time. That's one reason why I let you repeat the chapter quizzes as many times as you want, because by the time you come into the exam, you're going to be confident in your knowledge, right? And so that's the purpose of the exam, is to test that knowledge. So here's the password. It's been on the instruction sheet. Good luck is the password. Notice that it is lowercase. Notice that it is all one word. In other words, there are no spaces in between it. You must type it exactly the way that you see it on the page there. Okay. Now, after you submit it, I do have the feedback delayed to allow enough time for everybody to take the test. But after the due date passes, you will certainly be able to get in there and review the fully evaluated, assessed, graded test. Look at the questions. Make sure that the answer key is correct. In one of the other classes, I actually had a student who did that after her midterm, and she found where one of the questions, the answer key on the test, simply had the wrong score, grade on it, and so she earned some points because she went back and reviewed her test. Okay. So good thing to do is put a note on your calendar there so that you remember to go back and do that, But take it, be serious when you take it. Have your instructions ready. You see that's the full set of instructions. Where did I find those instructions? I clicked on Content, and I went down to the test number 1 category, and here you see test number 1 instructions. When you click the link, be patient to allow the instructions to load. Of course, where do I find my test? Well, I can click on this link here, or I can go to quizzes. And I know you're familiar with this by now. Don't waste time. You see that you've got another assignment that's already opened up. Keep moving forward, working on Chapter 7. Just looking ahead, I will talk to you soon about the SLO practice test and the SLO test and all those kinds of things. So we'll be touching base about that. But for right now, look at test number 1. Make sure that you are taking that before the due date. Do not wait until the last minute, folks. You only have one attempt, and so it's important to prepare, to take it seriously, and to complete it in a single sitting. We'll be talking to you soon. Thanks.